Welcome back, dear viewers, and welcome to our special edition of Africa Today. And today we are going to focus on the extraordinary Arab summit currently taking place in Cairo on Gaza reconstruction plan, as President Fattah presides on Tuesday over extraordinary Arab summit in Cairo on Gaza reconstruction plan. Arab leaders gathered in Cairo to discuss an alternative to widely condemned plan from U.S. President Donald Trump to assume control of Gaza and displace its Palestinian population. The Arab summit on the territory's reconstruction comes a day after Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu again gave his backing to Trump plan. UN estimates have put the cost of Gaza's reconstruction at more than $53 billion after a devastating Israeli genocide war. Arab foreign ministers met in Cairo on Monday for a closed-door preparatory session. The heads of state of several Arab nations are expected to attend. Trump triggered global outrage when he first floated his idea for the United States to take over Gaza Strip and turn it into the Riviera of the Middle East while forcing its Palestinian residents to relocate to Egypt and Jordan. Trump has since appeared to soften his stance, saying he was not forcing the plan, which experts have said violated international law. The Israeli genocide war has destroyed or damaged most buildings in Gaza, displaced almost the entire population, and triggered widespread hunger. The Israeli genocide war has killed nearly 48,400 Palestinian civilians. And to shed more light on the importance of this summit, we are joined over the phone by Ambassador Gamal Bayoumi, former Assistant Foreign Minister, and he's going to tell us more about the importance and the timing of this summit. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, how are you? And I think the timing is very good. It is well known that they are decided what they are going to say. Now we have a sort of a proposal for the final declaration, which is very good. I just have read it. It is, in brief, it's a big no to what some people were proposing to us, to send our Palestinians out of their country and to invite those who have no relations with this land, neither them or their grandfathers. What is the idea? What is the rationale about bringing a Russian to stay in an Arab country or a German or whoever, and to ask the people who own the land to leave it? This is unacceptable at all. So I think that the declaration is now almost well known, and we shall give this big no to whatever proposal is coming to expel the Palestinian people from their land. The good news also that Africa, the whole African countries are against this idea. Some countries in Europe like Germany or France didn't accept it. So our position is very strong, and the next step, I think it is that Egypt should enter in Gaza in order to rebuild this disastrous situation. And also this will be one result of the conference, that we have to rebuild the houses. And now we have hundreds of trucks waiting to enter to Gaza to rehabilitate the disastrous situation, which was a result of the Israeli aggression.
So, Mr. Ambassador Gamal Bayoumi, what are your expectations for the Arab League summit today?
I think my expectation is before the conference take place, because it's well known now what they are going to say. And in some newspapers, they quoted some ideas which was proposed by the level of the Ministers of Foreign Affairs. So, as I said, it will be a denial of any try to send the Palestinian out of their country, that we shall put the Palestinian in their own land. And I am really amazed, happily, that I see on the screen of the television thousands of Palestinians are very happy to go back to their country, although it is destroyed or whatever the situation. Even the children are smiling that they are going back home. Contrary to this, there is now contrary migration by 500,000 Israelis left the country in the last few months because it is not anymore the paradise they were promised. And they say they see that they're living in their own countries, whether in Europe or the States. It's much better than living in a country with a state of aggression like that.
Yes.
So close your eyes for the next 10, 15 years. We shall see that the Palestinians are majority on their own land, and what Israel is doing is a sort of what the economists they name it ghost houses, ghost settlements. They are building houses without people to live in it. So I am sure that our secret weapon is the Palestinian position, is that we support Palestine by all means, and we shall never hesitate to give whatever it takes to help our Palestinian brothers.
So, Mr. Ambassador, how has the October 7th reprisal attack impact international awareness about the Palestinian issue on the public stage?
We did well. Our diplomacy is very active lately. We went to the United Nations and we got 154 votes with the Palestinian state with stopping the war. Even in the Security Council, among the 15 member states, there were 14 with stopping the war and the two-state solution, except one vote only, which have, unfortunately, the veto power. So we are very good presented in the United Nations. We are very good presented in the African Union, where they are giving the PLO the right to attend their meetings, although PLO is not in Africa. We have such a thing in the Islamic Conference. We have such a thing in the developing countries. And it is a small story of success everywhere. We hope that this will give its impact on the land and to see Palestine again liberalized from any attack or any aggression.
So, Mr. Ambassador, also, how do you weigh the United States stand towards the Israeli ranging on the conditions of the ceasefire deal, now blocking aid to the enclave and conducting killings in Gaza Strip?
This is a sort of a stubborn idea, and it's not well designed. I see that the president does not consult his foreign office or the Pentagon, because in my personal experience, I know that the American diplomacy, they know all the files. They can give you answers to any questions you are asking. The Pentagon also knows what the Americas stand here and there. But we have the problem in the presidency and the president himself. But I see that he is hesitating recently and he's changing his mind about what he was saying.
So, sir, UN estimates have put the cost of Gaza's reconstruction at more than $53 billion. How can the finances be secured?
It is a step by step. We shall never resist or wait until collecting the money. And Egypt is already there, and we started to give our help by sending material. Then we are waiting. I don't think that I'm not afraid that the supply of money or material from Arab world or the international monetary organization will not realize. We are, as you see on the screen, hundreds of trucks are waiting to enter. So we are on the right track. The money will never be an obstacle for this process.
And how do you see the repercussions of the Israeli escalation in the occupied West Bank?
Disastrous, but we have a problem there. Yes. Because we have parties, they are with the war. They want the war to continue, starting by the Prime Minister of Israel, who is requested by the justice in his own country, in the International Criminal Court, in the International Court of Justice. So he cannot stop the war, because stopping the war will put him in jail immediately. Second, the President of the United States was an unpredictable gentleman. We do not expect exactly what he's going to say or to do. But I depend on the rationale of the State Minister, the Foreign Ministry of America. The third party who is in favor of continuing the war is the armament industry. They sold in the last few months $18 billion of weapons. So they are producing weapons to send it to war areas, and they are with the war because it is their cup of tea. They want more wars in order to sell more weapons. And this is not me who's saying this. President Eisenhower said once in his last speech to the Congress before he left the White House, and telling us that to be worried about the impact of the armament industry on the political minds in order to continue war after war. But I think the peace forces are much more, and we shall succeed at the end of the day.
Sir, one final question. Cairo News reported that Egyptian plan stresses that Gaza is indispensable part of Palestinian territories. How do you read the statement?
Absolutely, absolutely. And we before this silly war, we had a disastrous situation where Hamas took charge of the power there without elections, without anything. That was a failure on the Arab position, by the way. But anyway, now Hamas is not anymore there. So the proposal now is to bring the PLO to be there and then to start ruling Gaza in a democratic way according to what the people of Gaza would want, and would elect a government to represent them. I am sure that we shall reach this very soon.
Yes, I'd like to thank you, Ambassador Gamal Bayoumi, former Assistant Foreign Minister. Thank you, sir, for being with us. And the Israelis continued to block all food, fuel, medicines and other supplies to Gaza's population of some 2 million people, and vowed additional consequences if Hamas did not embrace the new proposal. The Israelis this week introduced what they said was a new U.S. ceasefire plan different from the one they agreed to in January, and are trying to force Hamas to accept it by imposing a siege on Gaza Strip. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu referred to it as the Witkoff proposal, saying it came from U.S. President Donald Trump's Middle East envoy Steve Witkoff. The new plan would require the Hamas resistance group to release half its remaining hostages in exchange for a ceasefire extension and a promise to negotiate a lasting truce. Israel made no mention of releasing more Palestinian detainees, a key component of the first phase. And Israeli occupation fired also killed at least 2 people in Rafah and wounded 3 others in Khan Younis in the south of Gaza in breach of the ceasefire as Israelis imposed a total blockade on the shattered enclave. Residents said Israeli tanks stationed near the eastern and southern borders of Gaza intensified gunfire and tank shelling into the outskirts throughout the night. A Palestinian official said a state of alert had been declared among fighters. In a statement, the Israeli military said its forces fired at a motorboat in the coastal area of Khan Younis, violating security restrictions in the area and posing a threat. And moving to more reports, Israeli far-right finance minister Smotrich said on Tuesday that he was traveling to the United States for a brief visit. Smotrich wrote on social media platform X that the goal of the visit is to strengthen economic cooperation between the United States and deepen the strategic alliance between the two sides. His trip comes with the U.S. President Donald Trump expected to announce whether to back the occupation of all or part of the West Bank, a Palestinian territory further occupied by Israelis in 1967. Smotrich, an ultra-nationalist settler whose support is key to Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's parliamentary majority, said he would meet U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent as well as other U.S. government officials. He said on several occasions that Israelis should push for Palestinians to leave Gaza and the West Bank and that they should take control of them.